Yesterday, Google released a new AI app builder called Firebase Studio. It is very similar to what apps like Lovable or Bolt.new or any other like Replit agent does, but it has access to all the native functionalities like Gemini's API, Firebase database, Firebase authentication out of the box. That makes it really powerful. Let's go through this announcement block to see that what all functionalities does it currently offer. So it is a cloud-based agentic development environment. You can build, test, and deploy applications. They claim that you can build full stack applications using Firebase Studio right now. The first of the many features is that you can prototype any AI app directly through natural language or using images. And it's set up a Next.js project right now, which I think is very impressive because every other tool, if you use Bold or Lovable, if you want to create an app that works with Superbase, you would have to use Vue.js over there, which is a good framework. It helps you build web pages or prototypes really quickly, but you cannot build scalable applications through this. Next.js is usually the most recommended way if you want to build an application that you can also scale in the future. Then the next part is it mentions that you can quickly iterate using AI chat. We would also be trying it out in action in a minute. Then the third major thing is that you can also jump into code wherever you want to. This is standard with every AI tool right now. Lovable launched this last week. Bold also launched it recently. So there's a new functionality that everyone is launching where you can directly jump into the code and you can edit it wherever you manually want to do it. You can also preview this code instantly and that too on any device. So this is something that is pretty unique because all the other tools usually provide it on a couple of devices. Plus, you can also get a preview URL over here. So you can just scan that URL and see the website directly on your phone. So that makes the process of checking the product on multiple devices really quick. Apart from this, they have also mentioned that in the future, they want to introduce something called AI testing, where when you create your app, you can test it on multiple devices under multiple circumstances using their AI tester. So that just makes development much more faster if you are a solo builder or if you just operate on a small team, then you don't need to have a standard testing procedure. You can do all of it within this product. You can also directly publish your apps using Firebase app hosting. And lastly, you can also share it with people. So just think of it like a Google Sheet that you can share access with others, but it would be an actual app builder. So this would just make the process much more convenient. And lastly, they plan to add a lot of Gemini code assist agents in the future. One of them is the AI model testing that I just mentioned to you. But apart from that, they also want to add much more things like code migration, code documentation, and other AI agents for making the entire development process faster. Right now, you can set up 3 workspaces at no cost. If you are part of the Google Developer Program, then you get 10 workspaces. And if you just upgrade it to a higher tier, you get 30 workspaces. But I think 3 workspaces is good enough for anyone to test this out. And apart from this, Google is also offering $300 in free credits to new customers who are just trying to use this AI assisted development product. Now let's try this out in real time and how this works and how well it compares with other peers like Lovable and Bold.new. I will open up the Firebase Studio. So this redirects me to this workspace where I can import an existing repository either from GitHub or my own project. I can select if I would want to create an app in one of these frameworks. There is everything almost here: Flutter, Angular, Next.js. So they also have a couple of sample prompts here, basically some ideas that you could generate with them. So let's build out an AI powered pet app. It's an app where you can pet an animal, you can keep them as pet, and if you care for them, if you tend to them, if you spend time with them, then they will feel energetic, they will feel better. If you neglect them, then it would uh, feel unmotivated. And you can also chat with your pet and all of those things. So let's build it out using this. So it would be using an AI API on the backend, plus it would also require database so that it can save how many times you actually come to your pet. So there's sort of a good example to try it out with this new app builder. So let's try prototyping it. Build an AI powered virtual pet app where users adopt a virtual pet that evolves based on their interactions. The pet's personality, appearance, and behavior adapt dynamically, creating a personalized experience for each user. The core concept is the virtual pet is not just a static character, it's an AI driven companion that learns from users' behavior and adapts accordingly. So, if the user frequently chats with the pet and is kind, the pet becomes cheerful and friendly. If the user neglects the pet or interacts negatively, the pet might become sad or grumpy. The pet's appearance evolves based on its personality. So, let's try building this out. Let's see how well it can build out this app. So, I will let it prototype this with AI. So, it has named the app EvoPet, and then it's coming up with all the features that would be there within the app, and also the style guidelines, the layout. So there's something that is pretty unique over here because the other apps like Lovable or Bolt, they does not create a blueprint at the start, but I'm seeing that it is creating a blueprint, which is sort of like creating a PRD or a document summarizing what needs to be built out before actually creating this app. So this practice works really well when you are doing AI powered development. So pretty good direction to start with. And if I look at what it's building on the right, so it has also created a docs folder where it is saving the blueprint that it created. And then after it, it is creating a lot of apps on the page. It recognized that we would have to use an AI API for using this. So that's why it asked me that if I want to manually enter my Gemini API key or should it auto generate. So let's try auto generating this. This is pretty useful because in all the other apps you have to manually go to OpenAI or Claude or Gemini for getting your API key and then use it here. And considering how cheaper and better Gemini's AI models have gotten in the last week with the launch of Gemini 2.5 Pro and Gemini 2.5 Flash, it makes absolute sense to use their API key in all of these apps. So it says that the first iteration is ready. Let's try it out. So it gave me the personality, incredibly optimistic and curious, always eager to explore new places and meet new creatures. Initial state, excited, bouncing with anticipation. So rather than creating a virtual character, it's basically using text for defining how the pet is right now. So let's try chatting with the pet. Hey, let's go for a walk. Let's send this message. So the pet replied, chirp, chirp. That sounds absolutely wonderful. Are we going to the park? Maybe we'll see some squirrels or butterflies. Let's go. Let's so does a little dance. So I said, let's go to the lake. The lake, oh, that's even better. Maybe we'll see ducks or maybe even a little boat. I hope there are shiny pebbles. Let's go. So this is pretty nice so far. I would also want some visual elements on this. So let's see if we can get something visual on it. Taking a quick pause here. Are you a founder who's looking to build your own app, but learning coding is really overwhelming for you at this point, and you don't want to pay a MVP agency $5,000 and still wait 6 weeks to get your MVP back? Then I have something for you. I recently created a guide that helps you learn how you can build your own apps using AI coding tools like Lovable and ChatGPT and Cursor. And all of it requires no coding from you. And this guide takes you from an absolute beginner to someone who can launch an MVP within 2 days and someone who can create a full fledged product within a week. Over here, I would be covering everything from creating a SEO optimized page to integrating OpenAI Cloud APIs within your product, authenticating users with email, Google, or their phone numbers, deploying the app on a custom domain, setting up a backend using Superbase, and collecting payments with Stripe. There are two options. Either you can get the entire course for $179, or you can opt for unlimited support with me that would cost you $449. This is the pricing for only the next 20 slots, and this will increase as soon as we hit 120 sales. The reason is we want to keep the quality of the support and the community consistent. So it sort of is a full package if you're trying to create an app. This include all the lessons that I have learned myself while I was creating apps using AI over the last 6 months. This is for someone who don't want to waste 6 months. This will just help you get started within 4 hours and you can start creating your product. Check it out. It's in the description of the video. See you on the other side. Now back to the video. Apart from this, I would also want some personalized onboarding over here for every user where they sign in on this application and they can choose the kind of pet they would want, how frequently they can tend to it, and all those things. Let's add a sign in slash sign up screen on this app using the Firebase auth and then build a personalized onboarding for every user. So another great thing you would find on this is that you don't have to connect your Firebase projects over here. You don't have to go to Firebase and create them and connect them. This would automatically connect them directly with your app. So you don't have to set up a different authentication or sign in sign up flow. You don't have to set up a different database. You can just directly prompt it and it would create it. So I see that it ran into an error. I've detected an error. Want me to help fix it? So yeah, let's click on fix error. It again went into an error. Let's try clicking on fix error again. So this time the error is that it cannot find a valid API key. Let's try clicking on fix error again. We might have to do this manually if this fails again and again. I see it is deleting a lot of code on the pages. I hope it is not deleting something that is actually required. I'm not sure which model this is using. Uh, I wish they had an option where we can choose the model that we are coding with. I think Gemini 2.5 is really good in fixing all of these errors. So let's, rather than fixing the error, let's ask it, can you please explain the error? Don't try fixing it. Let's just discuss what is the cause of the error. Think step by step. I will also paste this error message over here just in case it is not getting it directly. Let's paste this here. So if I go through the chart, okay, let's break down the error message step by step. Error type is happening when you're trying to initialize Firebase authentication instance. Most likely the cause of the error is that API key provided in the Firebase config is not properly being fetched or does not match the API key of the Firebase project. So let's go and check our code. So you can directly also jump into your code if you are seeing any problem. So the problem over here is that we don't have the relevant key API keys within a .env folder. I think it has already set up a Firebase project for us. So let's try clicking over here. This redirects me to a Firebase project that it has already created. So let's click on authentication over here just so that we can set up authentication for our app. Let's click on get started. We just need email and password for now. So I will just select this. I will enable this. Let's save. So we have this. So what I will do is I will go back on this and I will switch back to the prototype mode. So you can just switch back to the prototype mode by clicking on this button on top. So let's click on this. That would take us back to the prototype mode. Over here, let's drop our API keys. So let's come over here. Uh, I will go back to authentication and I will go back to the project overview. I will click on web. I will add a name here, AI Pet Simulator. Let's register this app and let's add the Firebase SDK here. So I will just copy this and I will drop this in the chat here. Can you please add the details in .env file basis this and also install the required dependencies. So I dropped my message, but I think it did not start processing it. Let's see what is the error that happened. So let's try reloading our browser window. It's a bit buggy right now, and I'm expecting that more than 1 million people are actually using this at this point of time. So it's fine. So let's try doing this again. Please edit the env file based on the following and also install required dependencies. So it has correctly edited a .env file. So this is working well. Now let's see if it can also install the required dependencies, and then it can actually make the app running. So it is also editing the firebase.ts file. Let's wait for a moment while it's fixing all the rest of the errors. So I still see an error over here. Let's try clicking on fix error again. Now that we have added our API keys, this error should be something that it can fix on itself. So I see that we are stuck on the same error. So what I will do here is I will try to troubleshoot this using Gemini 2.5 Pro. So what I will do is I will just copy this entire error from here. So let's copy this, facing this error that is using Firebase auth and Gemini API. Can you please help troubleshoot? Also, here is the code of the relevant files. So let's capture the code of the auth provider page. Let's also capture the code of the layout page and the main home page. Let's send this. So it came up with a couple of solutions that we should be trying. So I will just copy this entire thing from here and let's drop this in the editor over here. I will paste this and let it process it and make the changes based on this. So it is saying that the cause of the error was an import path that we used and it is mismatching in a couple of files. So let's see if it is able to fix that. So it mentioned that it understood the problem, but it has not fixed the error. So let's ask it to fix it. So now we see a sign in and sign up screen. I would want it to be a screen where a person can, switch between sign in and sign up. No person would have to do both, but still this works. So let's try this out. Let's put in my email ID over here for signing up and let's select a password and let's see if this is working. So when I click on sign up, I'm redirected on the app. Let's try seeing if the API is working. When I send hey, I did not get a response. So I think our API key was removed from the .env folder. So let's try and go to the code mode and see that if that is the case. Yes, our API key for using the Gemini API is not here. I think it was removed while we were adding all the rest of the API keys. So what I will do is I will come back here and I will mention. I think we have removed our Gemini API key from the .env folder. Can you regenerate one? So I think it should be able to regenerate this out of the box. I am expecting it to do it directly because it was able to generate an API key earlier, but it ran into an error. Let's try putting this prompt again. So it was not able to generate an API key again, but it is showing us the steps to do it. So let's anyways get our API key and let's add it over here. So I will just go to my Google AI Studio. I will create a new API key for this project and let's paste this. Let's go back to the code editor. Now I see that it has deleted all the other API keys over here. So let's go back and restore the last change that it did. So let's restore this to the last change. Yes, it's restored. Let's add a Gemini API key over here. We'll add this here. Next, Gemini API. Let's use this right now and then we can just ask Gemini here to tell us, can you please tell us what is the variable name for using the Gemini API key in our app? So it figured out the name. Let's add this here. So it's Google Gemini API key. Let's save this and let's go back to our app. Okay, now it has personality, appearance, and initial state, and we can also chat with it. Can we play? Let's send this message. Okay, so we are getting a response. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want to add a personalized onboarding at the start once someone signs up so that they can customize the kind of pet that they would want. Can we add a customized onboarding flow for users to select the kind of pet they want? They can select if it's a fish or a dog or a cat, if it likes staying indoors or outdoors, etc. So it is adding a new page. It is calling it onboarding page and it's adding it. Let's wait for it to add it. I'm hoping that it does not run into any more errors from here because it has already integrated all the required API keys. So it shouldn't be a problem for it from this point onwards. But let's see. So now it's asking me to customize my pet. I can select, so let's select cat here and let's select our environment to be, indoors. Basically a cat that's staying indoors. Let's create the pet. The create pet button is not working. Can you? Okay, it was working. I think the loading time was a bit too long. Let's wait for it to load all the pet details. And loading after I selected a cat that likes staying indoor. And when I think about it, it sounds a bit stupid because a fish would never want to go, there is no indoor or outdoor for a fish. But let's assume that it's a fish that stays in a bowl who wants to be inside the home or outside. But let's see. Let's get a pet that is a fish and that likes staying outdoor. So it is loading all the pet details. It has loaded all the details for the earlier choice that we made that was a cat rather than the fish. So let's play along. Hey, do you want a treat? Let's send this. Okay, this is working well. Let's add a bit of touches to this app. Let's add also animated character that can show you the kind of animal that it is. Maybe just use emojis. So let's add some details here. Can you please add emojis in the text? Also, let's add some pictures of the respective animals from library to make it look more real. Let's see if it is able to just go on the web, find out pictures that are relevant for this. There are also a lot of open source repositories as well from where it can import all these pictures. So let's see if it is able to do that. And it ran into an error. Let's try fixing this error. So let's try copying this error and share this with Gemini 2.5 Pro like we did earlier. That might solve the error because I feel the limitation right now is that it is using a model that is not advanced enough or smart enough to solve these issues like it was happening earlier. So let's get this. So it was not able. So let's copy this error from here. Let's paste this. Let's just use a last prompt. Let's also copy the code of this page. Let's try seeing that what the error might be. Let's drop the response here. So now it has also added emojis over here. The Gemini API does not seem to be working fine. We're not getting responses from it, but finally we got emojis for the pet type and environment. So now we know which pet we have chosen. So over here it shows paws of a cat and the environment is indoors. So the rest of the details does not seem to be working fine now. Personality, appearance, all of these things were the ones that we were receiving from Gemini API and it has stopped working. So what I'm doing is now I'm deploying my app. So this is another benefit of using Firebase Studio right now that you can deploy your app directly from here. So I will just add public access here on the app and then I will copy this URL. Then I will open it in a new incognito tab just to see if this is working on any browser. So the sign in screen seems to be here. Let's try signing up with a different email. Let's add a password here. Let's sign up. So when I sign up, then think the onboarding form is gone here. So this seems to be some error with this. So this is the major problem right now. I think it is not usable. It is not as good as Lovable or Bolt right now, where you can create apps in a couple of hours if it's something simple. This requires much more effort, but I'm expecting Google would solve it pretty quickly as they have done it with their APIs. Where the first versions, if you look at 1.5 Flash or 2.0 Flash, they were pretty shitty, but 2.5 Pro is actually at par or even better than O3 Mini or O1, all the OpenAI's models. So I'm expecting them to iterate on this fast as well, but the biggest thing is that if they make it work well, this would have everything starting with authentication, database, AI APIs, and even publishing this on the web. So this also replaces Vercel. So this would be a big thing in the future, but right now I don't think so. So that is all. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.